first. The industry of gaming has developed from a niche industry.
All right, let's see what they're talking about.
Arcade games such as Crystal Quest, which I played myself when I was a little bit younger, to a thriving, creative industry, a powerhouse. How do you describe the industry today?
Yeah, you know, I always start from a framing of just the people on the planet. There are a little over 7 billion people on planet Earth.
Okay.
About 4 billion people who are connected to the internet in some way, most of them
So
on
about
phones.
3 billion, that's not.
3 billion people today play video games, which is like staggering to think about. Nearly half of the world's population plays video games somewhere.
So out of 4
And to your point
billion, 3
about
billion
the kind of
plays
energy
that has
in
active
the
internet.
industry, when you have that many people playing on all continents, people of all kinds, you have an equally vibrant creator community of people who are building games, telling stories, building video games of their lived experience wherever they might be from, that can then instantly be shared to the billions of other players who play video games. So you have this market that has very exciting players, as you talk about, like everywhere, different kinds of games, and creators from everywhere telling their story from their part of the world. And I just love the fact that our industry is as much about the creation of video games as it is the play of video games.
So what is your vision for the future?
If I rewind, you talked about the 80s. I'm old enough to maybe even go back to the 70s of playing video games.
Nigga, y'all old. Stop acting like
The
that.
video game market used to be very locked up. It was
Yo, appreciate
you had
the follow,
retail
bro.
where you went into stores and there were boxes lined up and you decided what game you were going to buy. And there were only a handful of creators on the planet, big publishers, because they owned all of the distribution, the retail distribution of video games and how you print discs. Today, you and I could go create a video game company.
See, that's why I like what he's talking about too, because I was just talking about this mess with these people, but that's a great way of saying it, because again, it's just like the music industry now. You can literally pump out music and reach the masses. I'm talking about overseas, the globe, as long as they have an internet access, without having a distribution, without having to print a CD, without having to really do anything that's manufactured into a physical form, because of people having cell phones and tablets. He's hitting it spot on, even with gaming right now, because of the cloud services, because of things like Unreal Engine 5 and it making it easier for people to develop and create video games. You can literally take some classes, like my sister right now is taking classes, and she's literally learning how to use Unreal Engine at this moment. Like, oh snap. He said, yeah, man, just got checking it. Oh, snap. Appreciate it, man. From the UK. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, even look at what we doing right now with the streaming service. Like, back in the day, we wasn't able to do this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now we able to communicate. Oh, I'm trying to get your note. There it go. We able to communicate via over the web, man, with no problem with streaming. You know what I'm saying? 1080p, 4K. I'm trying to get everything right, but and that market goes into the video game market now. Like, we can literally create a video game, get a group of people, like-minded individuals, get a decent computer, hook up Unreal Engine 5, and learn how to create a video game on the fly, and be able to market, produce it, and publish it to the masses without a drop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's gonna be some money sacrifice, but it ain't as hard and as complicated as it used to be back in the days. And that's what he's touching on right now.
Tomorrow. And we could go build a game, and through many different mechanisms, we could deliver that game to anybody who wants to play it anywhere. And at Microsoft, with our gaming strategy, we're on a strategy of uniting creators everywhere with players anywhere on any device. We obviously build a video game console called the Xbox. We love the console.
Right.
We deliver all of our games on PC as well for people who want to play on PC. But we also recognize that in many parts of the planet, people aren't going to buy a game console. They're not going to go buy a gaming PC. They're going to want to play on the device that they already have. So we've invested a lot in cloud streaming technology to allow us to open
You
up
know what?
markets that
I think
might
he's
not
talking
be
about this
accessible
deal
via
with
the
Call of
kind
Duty.
traditional
Because
hardware
everybody is focused on Call of
What you're
Duty
saying is
instead
that
of
the gaming
them
industry is
paying
becoming
attention to
truly
like
global.
stuff like Diablo,
So how do you
League
see
of Legends.
Europe in the gaming industry?
Well, the great thing about Europe is it has a long history in the creation side of the business. Some of the world's biggest games were made in Europe. And there are pockets
It's a
of
great
different
little
kinds of
strategy they're doing
creativity.
right now.
England has its British humor and it shows up in video games. And you have your PC heritage in some of your Eastern European markets. And just your artistic creative capability in Central Europe. That
He's a
shows
man.
up.
He said he from
And I
Manchester,
see it
UK,
continuing to grow.
checking in,
The
bro. That
strength
just was
of
like,
us as an
man,
employment
appreciate
base.
that,
Video
man.
games employ hundreds of thousands of people, and people make
Appreciate
a
that,
livelihood
Carlito.
building video games and working in the video game industry, and I see that continuing to grow everywhere, including Europe. And obviously, some of our most important markets are right here when we think about places where we find customers, and we have great teams in place in different markets in Europe that engage with the local communities. Just a couple weeks ago, Gamescom, which is one of the biggest game shows anywhere in Cologne, Germany, we had a big Xbox presence there. And
I think their
we had
presence
over
is bigger than
200,000
E3.
consumers come through the Gamescom show.
I could be
It's
wrong,
awesome, just
but-
amazing. So this continues to be a very active and vibrant part of the game industry and an area that we love supporting.
And there is a lot of gamers in Europe.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate a little bit about the developers community as well?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we've been able to do is invest in our own studios here in Europe, which has been useful. We have many teams now that are part of Team Xbox, but are based here in Europe building video games. Because while video games are global, I still think the unique culture behind the teams that are building games shows up in the
Yeah.
games that are built. Sometimes it's explicit. where
Typically,
somebody's
your
gonna tell a
culture
story
can
where
make
shipping
games that
games
relate
fall
to
from Pentiment,
them better
which is
than
about medieval
outside
Germany
people. That
that's
just makes
very
sense.
German in its game, and that's like an explicit talk about a certain culture. But there's also kind of subconscious ways that our cultural elements of our teams show up in our games, choices that they will make, and the diversity of the studios that we have, not only where they are, but even the makeup of
All
the
right,
teams,
I had
the
to
people
adjust myself.
on the teams themselves, is very, very important to our creative output. So ensuring that we're investing in local development in Europe, we continue to invest in growing the community of Xbox players here in Europe. Both sides of those markets, I think, are very fundamental to our future growth.
And cultural diversity is really important in Europe. But let me switch gears a little bit. So Microsoft wants to get Activision Blizzard
Oh
King
my
in
God,
its
they gonna keep
fold.
bringing
What-
this up,
what
bro. I
is
can't wait for
the
this deal to be
reasoning
over
for the
with.
deal? What's behind it?
The primary thing that attracts us to, I'll just shorten it to say ABK, Activision Blizzard King, is honestly their mobile capability. Us as Microsoft, we know
Thank
that
you.
our DNA as a company is not
Thank
mobile.
you.
We don't have a successful mobile platform today. As a company, we come.
Thank you. He said what I've been saying for a minute. I've always said that one of Microsoft's crutches has always been the mobile. And I said I seen the gears change with the company when the cell phone, they had a cell phone called like the Windows Continental or something like that, Continent, which was it was a cell phone, but you can hook it up to a dock and it turns into a functioning workstation PC, and vice versa. Or you can, take it off the dock or put it on the USB, it becomes a functional working workstation PC. That cell phone flopped. I'm gonna say it flopped, unfortunately, because you ain't see a sequel to it or a part 2. But it was their biggest ambition when it came to like mobile devices. And then when that happened and it didn't take well because of how Apple has taken over and Google devices have taken over, they really didn't have like an iOS or a Windows store for apps. That was like the Achilles heel for the situation, and a lot of consumers were confused on what is this supposed to be. Is this just a phone? I just want a phone, a fully functioning working phone where I'm able to access apps and get cameras and filters and Snapchat. And this is before TikTok. The phone wasn't really able to do all those type of things because it was gravitating to doing more, which was, hey, you hook this up to a dock and a device, you put a keyboard, you get a keyboard in a monitor, you got a whole functioning workstation. You can do Excel, you can do Microsoft Words, surf the web, do documents, all type of stuff on this device because it's just that powerful in the palm of your hands. Now, when Apple took over and Apple announced, hey, we have a streaming service where we balling everything all in one to make a monthly service subscription where you get the Apple Watch workout program, you get the video games, the mobile gaming app store, you get the movies and TV shows with the Apple Plus, Apple TV, and then they just hit the deal, I think, with MLB. So they got all of their shows into one application for in a family plan, and you can pay it and have this subscription and gain access to everything on top of Apple Music. And they started doing concerts. Microsoft seen this, and Apple has already hinted that they trying to come into the video game world, but only in their type of way. They ain't coming in like we think, like they're gonna have a console and they're gonna sell you a remote control and all this stuff. No, they already have one, which is the Apple TV, and you can use a USB controller to play the video games on your screen. My daughter does it all the time. It works just fine. She enjoys it. And you giving us that subscription on top of this plan with the Apple device, the Apple TV device, which is only like $150, $175. They was literally ushering their way into the home console atmosphere without really having little to no effort of doing it, because all of the content was already there, because people was creating apps like you got the Call of Duty mobile, you had the GTA mobiles, you had the basketball NBA 2K mobile, what else was the Fortnite was heavy until that whole epic lawsuit situation happened. They had the Fortnites. You can play the game on your cell phones. Now you can put it on your TV screen with the Apple TV. So they was already coming into the mobile world. They was just doing it in a different approach, and it was like cost effective without really losing out on without really having to sacrifice a lot of money to get into the gaming world. And Phil Spencer and them, and they seen this and they said something about this to everyone that was in the home console atmosphere, which was Nintendo and Sony, saying, hey, you guys are not our competition. We have outside competition that's coming, and they have the money and the resources to change the dynamics of gaming. So yeah, Apple was trying to be a monopolist. Yes. But they was doing it in a slick way. Tim Cook was doing it in a slick way. And, Sony them and Phil and them peeped what was going on. And a lot of people, because you see what happened with Google. That's around the time Google announced, hey, we got the Google Stadia. We can stream games with this device, this little dongle device and a controller. We can do 4K 60 and you can play your games. Now, of course, time has progressed, just like Google has done in all type of situations, I think they bit off more than they can chew, and they didn't realize how much money they would have to sacrifice into getting into the gaming market, and they wasn't willing to compensate for that, because their problems was, one, when the device came out, it wasn't 4K 60 like they televised it to be. It was actually a lower settings. I can't remember what. I know it was around like 1080p or whatever. The data consumption for it was heavily consuming data. It didn't have no latency. Like, I played it and it was really fluid. It was actually really good. But the content that was on the game, on the platform, or the store that they had, was very expensive. Like, a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which was out for a minute, probably on the Xbox was like maybe $30-$20, somewhere around that price range. Whereas when you went to Google Stadia, it was like $60 or $50. And they had a lot of older titles. They didn't have a lot of new titles on there. So it was like, bruh, like, who really finna sit here and invest in it if y'all not going to even invest in yourselves? And they started buying studios, and then they started closing studios, and they stopped making exclusive content for the device. So it was like, it was pretty much a downhill slope, slippery slope at that point. So they went out, but Netflix is still here, pushing into the gaming atmosphere. Amazon still pushing into the gaming atmosphere, and Apple is there, but they're just sneakily doing it. Like, they're not like very abrasive with it. Like, hey, this is our gaming, and we got a AAA developer XYZ video games. They just like gradually putting it in, and as long as the games are touching the iOS store, which is a very popular store, very high demanding store, they get access and permission, and they get the bonus of it because they have everybody in a subscription base for it. So you can get the Minecrafts mobile, you know what I'm saying, the Angry Birds and all that stuff, and these Candy Crushes, and these games make billions of dollars, millions of dollars, like hand to fist bread. It's like literally all you gotta do is pay a subscription. You gain access to over like 300 some plus games in their library. So Phil is speaking on that, saying, hey, we failed by coming into the mobile market. We didn't have a phone, we didn't build up a mobile store, and we didn't bring in the content. We don't have a mobile device also, but we have software, we have data centers, and we have xCloud, which can tap into every market from PC, console, and mobile, and tablets. So, like he was just saying, 3 billion something people play video games. That 1 billion that they have internet that's not tapped into the gaming, and they probably play on the PC, on the mobile, they can tap into that market. It's brilliant, and it's a lot of people not talking about it because we all like overlooking it and just keep focusing on this Call of Duty situation. But I'm telling you now, when they hit this mobile market, it's finna be phenomenal. Like, it's finna be crazy when it comes to the content and the amount of games you're gonna get, because they're gonna flood the market with nothing but pure games just to compensate, one, trying to make up the money that they didn't have for mobile, and then two, trying to push heavy they present into the mobile market, because they already in the home consoles already. It doesn't matter. They already been PC. They create their games from PC. They came from PC. Only place they haven't really tapped heavy in is the mobile market.
From PC, in the gaming space,
watch.
PC,
Mark my words.
console, and yet most of the players on the planet today play on their phones. And when we looked at APK,
come on, bro.
A vast majority of the players that play games from Activision Blizzard King are playing mobile versions of their games. whether it's the king games like Candy Crush that many people play on their phones, but they've also done a really good job building mobile versions of some
that's
of
the where
their
the king
kind of
came
classic
in.
core
When he
games.
was saying
Mobile Call of Duty just
ABK.
crossed $1 billion in lifetime revenue. They just launched a mobile version of Diablo, which is one of their Blizzard franchises.
come on, bro.
And it was really their mobile capability that we thought was first and foremost unique.
See how he
for us
doubling
in terms of
down
what
on
Xbox
it.
was that would move us forward. The second thing was their deep history in PC and this Blizzard part of it, the B in the ABK. Their history with World of Warcraft and StarCraft, Diablo, is really kind of fundamental PC franchises. We also think could help build out our portfolio as we're looking at just where Xbox goes and where Game Pass goes. We think it'll be a big help.
You have been a passionate gamer yourself, and you're still, as I hear.
No, that's why I keep telling people. Once again, they saying, "Oh, once this ink dries and this deal is settled, oh, Phil Spencer is going to take Call of Duty off of PC. I mean, off of Sony, and off of the possibilities of it being on Nintendo." No, he's not. No, I will. As a business, no, I will not. I will allow that game to be accessible on that platform. But guess what's going to happen? Within the next 2 to 3 years, because I think that deal was in the next 2 to 3 years exclusive wise, where they get all the console exclusives and the perks and stuff like that. The game just being on their platform. They're going to allow that to run through. But day one in Game Pass is coming. You will have to have a Game Pass Xbox Microsoft Live account to gain access to Call of Duty to get exclusive content. This is a fact. They did it with Minecraft when it came to Nintendo. Yes, we're not removing Minecraft off of other platforms, but when you sign in, you download that game and you sign into that account, you have to sign into a Microsoft Live account, i.e. Game Pass. That's what that's going to be. As well as, once that deal is done, then exclusive rights to weapons and perks and all that stuff will be coming to Xbox, while the game can still be played on Sony's platform, which i.e. also forces them to do cross-play. Get it? Cross-play between PlayStation and Xbox. I gain access to your user base, and if you knew what was going on, if you checked out everything, Sony was very tight and heavy on they're allowing outside sources to gain access to their user base. That was one of their, fights. But them buying them and securing this game, it definitely lifts that whole barrier up, and it forces Sony to have to deal with it. Or, i.e., don't take the content. He said, "Nah, that would be an L, taking Call of Duty off other platforms. It's business, yeah. It will be crossplay. I reckon. Yeah, it's gonna be. That's what I'm saying. Why would I stifle my bread and stifle my money and my resources or money that's coming in just because I want to make it exclusive to Microsoft and PC? That's crazy. No, I want as many gamers to have it and have access to it and have fun with it, and just know that, hey, we saved Activision. Because let's be honest and let's be frank about what was going on. We can't overlook what happened and what was the reason for them even going up for sale, because of all the heinous and disrespectful things that was going on. And instead of an outside source picking up Activision, which one, probably wouldn't have handled it correctly, two, probably would have just could have made it just exclusive to one platform and not shared it with others. We're going to come in, foot the bill, take this bag, and then on top of that, we will allow you guys to gain access to that game as well. Keep our profit coming in, and you can have a daggone shooter. Now, I was telling people that the reason why Jim Ryan is pushing so heavy for it, and it makes sense for me, because you put all your eggs in one basket, and now we're taking the basket away. You know what I'm saying? They had an opportunity at whereas they had Call of Duty. They had SOCOM. You had Killzone. You had Resistance. What else? They had MAG. You had first-person shooters, multiplayer games that you had in your library, and y'all sacrificed and gave it up to focus on one thing, which was single-player driven drama games, which made you a lot of money. I would never put that beside them. They made a lot of money, but they forgot that you have to grow and you have to evolve, and that's what's going on now. I told my boy Nico this. It's just like a basketball analogy. I said, like, hey, it's like us taking the high school LeBron James, the Cavaliers, taking the high school LeBron James. They teaching him and evolving him on how the game of NBA is played, getting him physically fit, you know what I'm saying, working on his jump shots, working on his free throws, teaching him how to dribble, and now he becomes this big phenom, which everyone knows, love, and respect, and then all of a sudden, you trade and go to Miami. So it's like all of that hard work that we did in building the name and building the brand and getting you up to fan status where the fans love you, and then you leave and go to another team is devastating. So that's what Sony did with Call of Duty. Yes, Call of Duty was always going to be Call of Duty, but that exclusive content, that marketing deal, them putting that bag into them and showing that, hey, Call of Duty is a great shooter game that a lot of people, if you look at all the games that came out around Call of Duty, they gone. They're non-existent. They even have surpassed Battlefield. So we done built this brand up, and now all of us, we put all our eggs in this one basket. We stopped focusing on growing our own first party games, and we just focused on this third party shooter to cover up our multiplayer first person shooter debacle, and we focused on the single players. Now they're about to be gone, and we don't have nothing to back up for it. That's why they panic bought Destiny, and it was just, they got a shooter, and then on top of that, their future projects. Destiny seen this and was like, hold on, no, we ain't doing no exclusive deal, but we will bring our talent here to help you out to build up your future games. That's where the issue comes in at with Jim Ryan, and they feeling away because it's going to take them, let's just say they finna go and make them a multiplayer game, multiplayer shooter game. And the smart idea would be to take a brand or take a name that's already known with the fans and the people, bring it back, and pump and do an overhaul and make that like a real crazy shooter, like really put some heavy money behind it. That's the easiest, best way to do it. Now, let's just say they take the hard route and they decide to say, hey, we're going to do a new IP. If they do a new IP, it's going to take that game years to catch up to what Call of Duty brand brought to the company, market to the company, profit to the company. It's going to take them years to cover that. Not even just cover it in the point of they make dollar for dollar, but at least make it sustainable and reasonable to keep making sequels. It's going to take them years for that because, one, you got to create the IP, for one. For two, you have to, the fans, the fans you have to present it to the fans, and the fans have to gravitate to your game. 2, 3, you have to build a community. You have to have a cult following for that said game. And that type of stuff take years to happen. And then 4, you have to come with a possible sequel. You're gonna have to come up to like maybe 1 or 2 more sequels outside of the first game. So a total of 3 games to even prove that that game is valid and legit with the crowd, with the masses. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of endorsements. That's a lot of marketing, a lot of talent. It's a lot, but they have a game that a lot of people want. And I said it, and I'm gonna say it now because I'm, chop this up and put this on my YouTube channel. He said, prefer Battlefield personally, not a COD fan, but can see what they are doing. COD make money regardless, easy meet and drink. Facts. I'm the same way. Last time I played or took Call of Duty serious, like I was like a daily player, was Black Ops 2. That was the last time I took Call of Duty like serious to the point like I was playing it every day. I was a Battlefield 4 fan. I love Battlefield 4. I love the Bad Company series. That Hardland and all that other stuff, they kind of went off on a whole different spiel. And then Battlefield 2042, like I bought the limited edition version of that game, and then all of the debacle that happened with it. So trust me, I know. I'm still looking at Call of Duty of 2022. The game that they just about to drop, Modern Warfare 2? I'm looking at this game. Played a little bit of it, and I'm looking like, bro, y'all still don't have half of what Battlefield 4 had. I'm just being honest. Like, I get they praising it and all that stuff again. I'm like you. I understand the magnitude that Call of Duty have in the gaming industry because I firsthand seen it. I was working at GameStop, and I seen with the Red Ring of Death what happened with the Red Ring of Death. The Red Ring of Death happened, boom. I seen what I call the great migration of gaming, where people was coming into the stores, returning their Xboxes and trading them in, getting them a PS3, buying Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto, and they was out the door. I seen that firsthand without a doubt. Like, people was trading in their Xboxes with Call of Duty only to turn around and buy a PlayStation to buy Call of Duty. I seen it firsthand. And vice versa, when the Yellow Ring of Death and when PlayStation had that network hack, that big network hack where people couldn't get online for like almost going on 2 months, people was trading in their PlayStation and their Call of Duties to buy Xbox and Call of Duty on the Xbox. I seen it firsthand. I kid you not. I was working at GameStop. So I know that, of course, people want to sit here and parade around about their consoles, PlayStation this, PlayStation that, they loyalists. They really aren't. They are video game loyalists. The cult following will go where they feel like they're getting the best deal for that game, period, point blank. He said, yeah, my last Call of Duty was Modern Warfare on the 360. He said, COD, I don't think really changes, but it is a seller. Yeah, Battlefield has a lot to it. It really do. I don't know what is, but you know what? I'm lying because, dang, I did another video. I need to do that video too. Because at first, I was tripping about how the hell did Battlefield have this great mark? Like, bro, it was games ahead of Call of Duty. You throw a grenade in Call of Duty, it hits a wall and blow up. No type of environment, fragments, nothing chips off the block. Ground wars in Call of Duty, you driving a tank into the town, you hit a building and nothing happens. Like, and this is 2022. And the fight and the plight that they said to me was Call of Duty ain't about that. That ain't what Call of Duty is. He said, I tried the new beta and didn't see much difference in gameplay, to be honest. It was a little bit slow. It was a little bit slower for what I seen. Like, I seen that they was doing the technical route, which I'm cool with. I liked it. A lot of people didn't, for whatever reason. They was arguing me up and down about the whole, we can't cancel slide and dolphin dive. I'm like, fam, you can't cancel slide and dolphin dive in real life without getting killed. Why would you want to do that? Yeah. So I'm like, bro, what are y'all talking about? Like, the game was actually good. It was good enough to the point where I played it and I was like, hey, when the game come out, I'm willing to sit down and not play 2K and play some Call of Duty and get on there. So I was, sharing who gonna be buying the game, who gonna be getting it. And they like, oh, no, we ain't getting it, all this, the loadouts. I'm like, fam, the loadouts was perfect. Like, they started you off with a defaulted loadout. You shoot and make kills, you get the money in the game, and then you can go to the daggone box and buy a loadout. Like, what's the problem? Oh, I want my loadout when I first started the game, and that's how. But dude made a point that I can't really argue and combat with it. He said, it was King's Blood. Shout out to King's Blood. He said, yo, who is more important, the people that buy your product or the outside source that's complaining about your product? And I'm like, of course, the people that's going to go out there and buy it. So he says the mass majority of people that will go out and buy Call of Duty are complaining about these issues. So what you think Call of Duty gonna do? And when he said it like that, as much as I wanted to, argue up and down about his opinion about it, he was right. These companies have to focus on the money. And at the end of the day, the money is what's going to drive them, regardless of passion, regardless of them wanting to try something new and be inventive with Call of Duty. The masses don't want it. And it's sad to see. Like, that's another reason why I'm kind of praising Phil Spencer on what they do when Microsoft get it. Because Microsoft just said, hey, we're not finna do a yearly release of Call of Duty no more. It's going to be 1 to maybe 3 years, a gap. It's going to be a gap in between Call of Duties, because Call of Duty got damn near over 4 to 5 goddamn development teams making a different Call of Duty. What is it? Sledgehammer, Raven, Activision, Treyarch. I think it's another one. I don't know about the other one. I know 4 off the back of my hand right now. Treyarch, Activision, Raven, and Sledgehammer. I don't know if it's a 5th one, but it has 4. And the focus, he said, focus on the masses. Yep, yeah, they have to focus on the masses. So the masses are complaining, which means, hey, they're gonna have to tone down and remove certain things and add what they want, which sucks, because I was listening to the developers and they said, hey, what they call a cancel slide, that wasn't meant to be in the game. We've been trying our hardest to remove it. Just like they've been trying to remove quick scope out the game. I remember them advertising and showing like on the screen, like, hey, we removed quick scope because of this and da-da-da-da-da-da. And people, of course, finagled and figured out a way to do it. But it's just heartening. It's just really disheartening, because as someone that wants to get into the development of video games and create a video game eventually, and then seeing that, hey, your fans or the people that enjoy your product don't want to see you grow and evolve to anything. They just want to keep playing the same thing over and over and over again. And it's like, when does the madness end? I can just imagine going to a job every day, like, I don't know, let's say a car factory, and your only thing that you do for an 8 to 10 hour shift, depending on what hours you make, only thing you do is put on 5 lug nuts. That's all you do. You do 5 lug nuts on one side of the tire. So you do the left drive tire for 8 hours, and that's what you do for 8 to 10 years. I would lose my motherfucking mind knowing that all I do when I come to work is put on 5 lug nuts on a tire for 8 to 10 hours. To work 4 hours, take a break, come back another 4 hours, same lug nuts, same position, same spot, nothing changed. So just imagine you being a game developer and you're going to work and you got all these newfound ideas and all these new directions you want to do with the game and evolve it to something else. And every day they keep pumping in your head, no, you have to do this. We don't want nothing else but this. I wouldn't even want to create no more. He's out by fever every year, simply similar kind of situation, same game year in and year out, pretty much with a few tweaks. Again, like, and I heard they had their little deal where what they said somebody about to buy them up or they not about to use the fever name anymore. But I'm just saying, like, that's why I see like what happened with Titanfall, for example. Titanfall came out. I like two. I like 2 story, but I like 1's multiplayer. They came out with the bots, and that was another thing I was complaining about in Call of Duty was the bots. But they came out with the bots, and people was complaining that the bots was hard. Like they was like, oh my god, the bots, I can't kill them. They kicking me in my back, and I'm like, fam, adjust and adapt. The game was dope. Like that game was raw. Because it made sense. You couldn't tell who was real and who was fake. So it's like, yo, you shoot everybody. And in Call of Duty, they was doing the same thing. Now they saying the bots in there is too hard, and then I gotta shoot, and then I'm giving them my position. Wasn't y'all complaining about campers? This is their way to combat campers. People that sit in certain little areas and don't move and wait for certain kills. They got bots in there now. So if you're not moving around and a bot comes up to you and you got to shoot and fight him off. Oh, we have a position. We know where he's at. We can hear him through the headset. Oh, go this way. Instead, it's like, fam, he said shoot on sight. Facts. Like, they calling out positions and you got your headset on, you hear it. All right, cool. I need to go this left, right, zip. And they complain about it. Now they talking about removing it. So it's like, bro, I'm sorry, man. Like fans really take the fun out of video gaming, and it's sad to say they sit here and say, oh, they praise these companies and they love the product that they drop and they want to invest, but you don't even want to allow them to grow and evolve and do new things. Like, how long Call of Duty been out? And it's been this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, when they try little things, y'all tripped out about it too on that end of tip. But then it's coming to the cosmetics and the mechanics of the game, and y'all flipping out about it. It's like, fam. It said, can't please them all. You can't. You really can't. And I don't know who really at fault at this point, because is it one, you know what I'm saying, Call of Duty and them milking the situation, or 2, is it just the fans just rapidly just wanting the same thing and not allowing the company to evolve? I don't know. But I think what Phil Spencer is going to do and Microsoft and them going to do with is perfect, which is we're not finna do a yearly release of Call of Duty. We're going to allow this game to have some rest. We're going to allow this game to evolve to something better. And hopefully you guys can accept it, or they can at least tweak it enough to the point where it's not just the same Call of Duty over and over again. Because, again, I'm sorry to tell you, they say what they want. It's 2022, and you telling me ain't no destructible environment in Call of Duty is crazy to me. It's just like baffling to me, even to the point where y'all have ground war. I'm intrigued with the DMZ mode, which is supposed to be Escape from Tarkov, their version of it. I can't wait to play it. I want to see what ideas they come up with it. But you can't come up with nothing if I'm constantly fixing and altering back to the same old stuff. So it's stupid. It is really stupid to me, but whatever. Because a lot of people don't understand. You destroying a building like in Battlefield, man, you got people sniping in the building. They taking people out. Boom, boom, boom. Then all of a sudden the tank come through and destroy that building. It opens up the playing field. Now I can see that individual up there. Oh, I got to take him out. All right, he got a little bit of advantage, but hey, boom, boom, boom. I can catch him. I can see him before he see me. You know what I'm saying? It gives a whole different dynamic to the war environment. Even to the point where we level a whole building. Like now that whole building gone. Like it's out of here. You gotta find somewhere else to scrimmage to. I don't know, bro. Let me get back to this video. I didn't went on a whole tangent. I'm gonna chop this up though.
I will not ask what
it's
your
just
favorite
crazy to
game
me,
is
man.
now, but tell us what would you advise young adults that wanna make a living in the gaming industry? What are the skill sets they would need?
One of the
what
really
skill
interesting
sets?
things about building a video game is it's a unique intersection between art and technology. I mean, so much of what Microsoft does is really more technology.
He sounded like he praised me. He said, yeah, Battlefield's next level when it comes to environment. It really is. It really was, because they still got a little bit of it in 2042, but it ain't nowhere near what it was in Battlefield 4. Like, for real.
Driven, then I'd say artistically driven. But the things that make video games great, it could be the music soundtrack.
Yeah.
It could be the animation or the art that's done. It could be the storytelling that's written in a game. And yet at the same time, the game has to run successfully. It can't crash. It needs to have the performance that we expect in terms of its frame rate and its resolution and all the technology that is important in running a great video game.
I see what he did there. Hey, baby. I ain't getting out of nothing. I see what he did there when he's talking about the quality of gaming. One of the issues where I'm saying that I think that, especially with the Craig incidents and with Halo, it's kind of like on that level of acknowledgement. But a lot of people, rumors, are saying that Starfield will not be releasing in early 2023. And I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all. Hey, baby. I don't think it is. Reason being, and people going whatever. Oh my God, they not ready. They just got a terrible game. The game was terrible. The face expression. No, that wasn't the case at all. They have Redfall. I think Redfall is more polished and ready to be released than Starfield. The reason being, you gotta look at what they was trying to do. Like, we talking about No Man's Sky level of worlds and planets and dialogue and DLC and gameplay and story. That game has to be polished. And it's coming from Bethesda. Both of those games are Bethesda games. Bethesda is publishing Redfall and they're creating Starfield. So why would I put both of my new releases month to month apart from each other? That is going to cannibalize one of them and we're going to lose out on profit. So I would rather put Redfall out, which is polished, ready to roll, release that. I think they're talking about in March. That give us time to do more advertisement, polishing, bug fix, etc. on Starfield, and then we release that in the fall of 2023, which probably gonna keep its November release date, maybe, or maybe December. One of the two. Typically, I think Bethesda games release in November, if I'm not wrong. I think so. But long story short, we gonna separate our games. It ain't no point of us doing a month-to-month release on our games and don't have nothing else for the rest of the year and cannibalize one of them. Typically, Starfield would be cannibalized over. I mean, not Starfield. Redfall will be cannibalized over Starfield because everybody really wants Starfield. So it makes sense. Allow that game to grow and evolve, build this audience, you know what I'm saying, have a little cult following or whatever that want to continue playing it during the year. When fall come, here you come with Starfield. Boom, we come out with 2 games in 1 year. But I see what he was going by with his polish situation. It's kind of like a jab on what's going on with Halo Infinite as well as what's going on with Bethesda, in my opinion.
So the nice thing about the video game industry, and even our own team, we have composers full-time. In our staff, we have artists, we have concept artists, we have animators, in addition to having our traditional program managers and project managers and developers.
I want to become a project manager, real talk.
Of different disciplines that are involved.
You said, all right, bro. Cool talking to you, checking in again next time. It's 1 to 5 a.m. here in the UK. Peace, bro. All right, man. I thank you for coming out, man. I appreciate that. Also with that follow, man. Enjoy your day, man. Well, your night, because it's 1 a.m. It's like 7:50 right now.
Thank you so much for being with us. And we're
Dang, it's 7:50 p.m. I thought it was later than that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on Tech Talk.
Tech Talk. Now we're going to call this Melo Talk. So, yeah, man. Good little interview. You know what I'm saying? Something light, nothing too major. I appreciate what they did. I like his little talking points. He definitely highlighted what I've been saying about mobile being a dominant force. Yeah. We're going to chop this one up too. All right. Make sure I put this on YouTube. YouTube. Oh, this nigga doing the show. Oh, hold on. Let me jump on over there real quick. Matter of fact, I'm finna head out. Let me jump out. I gotta chop these up anyway.